Camila lived on her feet. A wedding and event photographer, she spent her weekends climbing onto chairs, crouching on floors, dashing from one side to the other so she wouldn't miss the kiss, the tear, the bouquet in midair.
Gotta get this angle.
The
Check
good
this
shot
out.
is always where you're not
Go, go,
standing,
go.
she used to say. 29 years old, a calendar
right.
booked solid through
This is
September,
doable.
and a bicycle that carried her everywhere. It was the bicycle, of all things, that finally made her stand still. An intersection, a car that didn't brake in time, and Camila went flying.
Oh no!
She didn't remember the
Watch
impact, only the after, the warm asphalt against her cheek,
Whoa.
the ringing in her ears, and a deep, dull pain rising from her thigh. She tried to move her
okay?
leg, and something inside screamed at her
Call
not to.
911.
She stayed very
She's
still,
hurt.
staring at the June sky while people crowded around her.
Oh God!
"Don't move," someone said.
Somebody help me!
"The ambulance is coming. Don't move."
Stay
Two
absolutely
words
still.
that would define her whole
They're
summer.
almost here.
A
Keep
femur
pushing.
fracture.
We're almost at room 3.
The word sounded
I need a
enormous,
doctor in room 3
and the
now.
treatment lived up to it. After surgery
fracture
came
is
the
clean, and
cast,
we expect a full
a long
recovery
one,
after surgery and
the
physical
kind
therapy.
that runs from
Thank you,
high
doctor.
on the
That's a huge
thigh
relief.
all the
We'll
way
take good care
down
of
to
you.
the toes,
Keep your legs
with
straight,
the knee
please.
fixed nearly
Just a
straight.
few more wraps here. Does that
When the
feel snug?
technician
Yes,
finished
that's
applying
fine.
it,
Almost
Camila
done.
looked at that rigid white
It's
column
so
that had been her leg and felt it belonged to someone else.
I can't believe it.
"You'll be like this
I
for
hadn't
several
planned on
weeks,"
this.
the doctor explained. "The knee
now.
doesn't bend, so you're going to have to
changes
relearn
everything.
almost
I
everything.
used to be able to go anywhere,
Sitting, sleeping,
but I'll be
moving,
back there soon.
take it
I
slow."
have to. I
Camila,
understand.
who had never in her
It's just gonna
life
be
done
hard, that's
anything
all.
slowly,
We'll get through it
nodded
together.
without fully understanding what was coming. The first thing she discovered, once home, was that a leg that doesn't bend changes everything. Sitting on the couch was a geometry problem. The leg had to stay straight no matter what, taking up 2.5 cushions,
here goes
pointing at the
nothing.
ceiling like a mast. It
And
didn't fit in a normal chair.
success.
It didn't fit under the table.
Come on.
The first time she
Seriously?
tried to sit
I just
down to
wanna
eat,
sit down.
the leg banged into the
This is
table leg,
ridiculous.
and she had to turn the whole
Okay.
chair sideways, eating in profile
Here we
like
go.
an awkward guest in her own kitchen.
You can do this.
Sleeping
just
was
one more.
worse. Used to curling up in a ball, now she had to lie flat on her
that's
back, the leg raised on a tower of pillows. Every time she wanted to turn, the entire leg turned with her like a log, heavy, tugging at her hip. The first nights she slept in snatches, staring
God,
at the
this thing is
ceiling,
heavy.
listening to the summer
one
city
more.
through the
I
open
can do it.
window and the
Almost
stairs.
there. Take a break.
She
Oh,
lived on the
man.
3rd floor with no elevator.
Finally made it.
The day she came back from the
This is
hospital, it
ridiculous.
took her 20 minutes to
I
climb,
guess I won't be
step
dancing for
by
a
step,
while.
sitting backwards,
Oh, well,
pushing
there's always
herself
next
up
year.
with her hands
Ha.
and dragging the straight leg
Okay,
out
here
in front
goes
of her.
nothing.
When she reached the top,
And
sweating and shaking,
success.
she gave a joyless laugh. "Wedding photographer, look at you now."
I really need help.
Camila was proud, and pride was the first thing to break,
I
even before the
understand.
femur,
I'll stay
she
here.
thought
Don't worry about
afterward.
me.
She
I
had
love
to
you
call
too.
her sister,
Bye.
Andrea, and ask her to stay
Here,
a
let
few
me get that for
days.
you.
Andrea, whom she'd competed with
Thank
over
you.
everything since
I
they
can
were
manage it
girls,
now.
showed up with a suitcase
let's get
and a
that heavy thing
smile
up
that
for
was
you.
a little too big.
Thank you.
At
I really
first,
appreciate
Camila
this.
hated needing her. She
never told
hated that
anyone that.
Andrea handed her things, washed her hair
really glad
leaning
you
over
told
the
me.
sink, propped her
Me
leg up
too.
when she couldn't
I'm the
reach.
worst. It's just been so hard
But
lately.
something
I know, I
strange
understand.
happened
But
in
hey,
those
remember that
forced
time when we
days
were
of
kids and you fell off the
stillness.
bike? Oh God, that was the worst.
With no weddings
I
to
can't believe
shoot,
that happened.
no running
I know,
around,
it's so
the
funny.
two sisters
Cheers
ran
to
out
that.
of excuses not to talk.
To us. Oh
They
my
talked
God, that
about
was the funniest
everything.
thing. I know,
About
I
their
needed
mother,
that. It's gonna be okay.
their
Yeah,
father,
it is.
the
I
old
love you.
things they'd never said. One night, with Camilla's leg up, and a movie playing that neither of them watched, Andrea confessed something
I know
she'd
this
kept
is hard,
quiet for
but you're
years,
gonna get through it.
and
I'm
Camilla
right here with
cried,
you.
and afterward they
Thank
both
you.
laughed.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
It was, though neither of them said
I
so,
haven't seen
the
this
best
in
night of the
years.
summer.
So
The
many
days
memories.
began to find a new shape. Since she couldn't work, Camila did something she'd been putting off for years. She opened the hard drive with thousands of old photos, unedited, forgotten. She spent whole afternoons going through them. Leg propped
It
up,
would become the
laptop
best
resting on a
exhibition
board
of her
balanced on the cast. She found treasures. She found her own eye from 10 years ago. Almost out of boredom, she started editing a personal series she'd never had time to put
career.
together.
I'm adding your name right here.
Months later, it would become the
Just need to
best
fit one
exhibition of her career. But she didn't know that yet. The cast, meanwhile, filled up. Andrea drew a camera running on
It would
little legs.
become the best
A couple
exhibition
whose
of
wedding
her
she'd
career.
shot mailed her a marker and asked her over video call to write their names on
Here,
it
let me get that
herself.
for you.
A friend wrote, near the ankle,
Thank you.
even photographers
can
need to
manage it
stay
now.
still sometimes.
You guys.
Camila read that
You
line
really outdid
every night
yourselves.
before falling asleep.
Thank
The
you.
day the cast came off, the saw roared and the two white halves opened like a shell. Inside was a thin, pale leg, the knee stiff
Oh my
from so
God.
many weeks without bending.
It's
Now the hard
real.
part begins,
Thank you.
said the physical therapist, smiling.
You've made fantastic
Getting that knee
progress,
to
Camila.
bend again
Let's
is
start with
going
a
to be
gentle
tougher
cycle
than
to
the
test the
fracture.
leg.
Sounds good.
And
I'm
it
ready.
was. The
All right, let's
first
try a
degrees
small
of
bend.
flexion
Deep
were
breath
slow,
in.
uncomfortable,
Yes, that's it.
one
Hold it there.
through
You're doing
daily
great.
patience.
Now relax it back down.
But
Good job.
Camila, the
Keep
woman
going.
who never did anything slowly,
Just
had
a
learned
little further.
exactly that over the summer, some
That's
things
it.
can only be achieved
Good.
slowly.
Keep that tension.
I feel it working.
In
work,
September,
almost
she
there.
went back
Thanks,
to
you're
a
the best.
wedding.
Let's see how that leg feels now.
Not to
Good
shoot
job.
it,
Wow, that's
that
better
would
than I
take a
thought.
while
Look at you go.
longer.
You've come so far.
But as a guest,
That's it,
leaning on a
Camila.
cane,
Excellent control.
her
Keep
legs
going.
still weak, but
I feel
hers again.
stronger.
You're doing great. So proud of
In the
you.
middle of the party, without a camera for the first time in years, she found herself watching the scene, the bride laughing, a kid stealing appetizers, the grandmother wiping away a tear. All those good shots she would have been running to capture.
Oh, isn't this beautiful?
And for once,
It's
she didn't
perfect.
run.
I'm
She
so
stayed
happy for
still,
her.
leaning on her cane, and simply watched. The summer that had forced her to stop had given her something no camera could capture. It had taught her how to be present.